So we want to do number 48 and 8.4, which is the scary word problem, right? Okay, so out of this word problem, which says the height of a softball in feet after X seconds is given by this formula. And then it says, okay, determine the highest point the ball reaches, and then it says kind of ish, when does that happen? Okay? So how do I do this? Okay, I could graph it using what? Yeah, it's a parabola. Yes, and it opens down. Okay, so it's definitely going to have a highest point, right? Okay, cool. There was oh yeah, there's a thing for this, right? Do you guys want to know where the thing comes from? Do you want to remember that? Yeah, so if I remember the quadratic formula, right? The quadratic formula looks like negative b plus or minus the square root of some junk over 2a, right? This tells me what? This tells me my x if what? What's the other half of the quadratic formula?
When is variance equal to 0?
Yeah, when is it 0? What does it mean when the height's 0?
It hasn't gone anywhere, there's no.
Yeah, there's no height. What's no height mean?
That's on the ground.
Yeah, the ball's on the ground, right? You guys see that? Okay, so if I was to think about my kind of parabola as, okay, there's like this kind of action going on. This is actually a much better half circle than it is a parabola, but there are these two spots where it's on the ground, right? Those are negative b minus the square root of whatever over 2a, and negative b plus the square root of whatever over 2a, right? Those are x values, right, inputs. So where's the highest point? Yeah, it's halfway in between, right? That's right here. So what's halfway in between negative b plus root whatever over 2a and negative b minus root whatever over 2a? It's maybe a little weird to see. What if I wrote these in a slightly different way? What if I wrote them as negative b over 2a minus a number and negative b over 2a plus a number? Now it's halfway in between.
0. Negative b over 2a.
Yeah. You see that? Because it's the number from this side and the number from that side. You see that? So really I'm thinking this distance is that number and this distance is that number. So this middle point happens at negative b over 2a. Which is super cool because it lets me do problems like this really easily. I just need to recognize, I don't even have to recognize C, right? I just need A and B. So what's A and what's B out of this guy? Negative 16 and B is 48. Okay, so the highest point is what's
48 over 32?
negative 48 over negative twice 16, right? Okay, which I can simplify a little bit. Right, this is
48 over 32.
48 over 32, and I can do a bit better than that, right?
3 over 2.
Yeah, this is 3 times 16, and that's 2 times 16. You can get there by factoring some 2's out, right? but eventually you'll arrive at 3/2. Is that what I should put here? Okay, so are you skeptical just because I asked the question that way?
No, because it makes sense when we got one particular point, we need another point. Like,
Yeah, there should be two, there's two questions I'm trying to answer, right?
if we're gonna answer this like it's a graph problem, we need that x and y, not just the x.
Yeah, okay, so here this was about, wait, what the hell was a negative b over 2a? What category of thing was that? That was part of the vertex, right?
X, it was the x coordinate of the vertex.
You guys see that? I got that thing by thinking about quadratic formula stuff, right? Quadratic formula tells me about that inputs, right? For when the output is 0. So this negative b over 2a, I lied to you a little bit. That should be a x, right? So the x coordinate for this point on my softball's flight is 3/2, right? What's the other point? Where do I get that from?
That 3/2 is your equation.
Oh yeah, so this should be h of 3/2, right? Now which one's a height and which one's a time?
The 3 over 2
Is a,
height. It's the time.
right? Because this thing is a function that takes times, x's, turns them into heights, h's. You guys see that? Okay, so 3/2 is not the answer to determine the highest point. It's the answer to
When does that happen?
when does that happen. Okay, see that? So this happens after 3/2 seconds. Right, that's for when does this happen. Now what's the highest point? Yeah, I should just plug 3/2 in. Okay, so what's h of 3/2?
Negative 16 times 3/2 squared. Plus 48 times 3/2 plus 8.
Okay. Let's see. Dump that piece. So this is negative 16. 3/2 squared is
9/4.
9/4. Then I have plus
48 times 3/2.
Can I simplify a bit there? What can I cancel there?
48.
2 out of the 48 and the 2 on the bottom, so I'm left with
24 times 3.
24th times 3, which is 72. How did you know that so fast, Kip?
Well, before I put the calculator, I just told myself, okay, 40 and 2 we need to go out, and then obviously you just gotta carry some numbers around like it's good.
Nasty. No, not that way. How'd you know 48 times, or 24 times 3 is 72?
It's the same as 12 times 6, or 12 times 2.
No, it. Because you know how long 3 days is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, plus 8. Next, what?
You can cancel 4 out of the bottom and 4 out of the 16.
Okay, so I get negative
Negative 4 times 9, which is negative 36.
36. I don't need to save one, Josh. Thanks. Okay, so I get negative 36 plus
72 plus 8.
72 plus 8, which is,
80.
no,
72 plus 8 is 80. Minus
But 36 is 44.
don't be crazy. Which way is this easiest to add? Just not play this game.
36 plus 8.
No. Why are you guys nuts? 36 is half of 72.
That's 116.
Does not see that? Maybe I
That's
just
what I
think in
read
a
that.
bizarre way. 44,
36 plus 8.
which is 36 plus 8. Oh, I see. You already flipped to the positive. I gotcha. However you get this, right? Through whatever process your brain goes through. The one my brain goes through is weird. Get 44. Wait, what's 44?
Imaginal.
The highest point in feet.
Okay, so what do I say there? In other words, what little sentence do I write?
The highest point is 44 feet.
Yeah. So the ball reaches 44 feet. I don't know why I wrote that answer in red and this one in black. Cool. So what was the thing we remembered about parabolas that should be important?
The X.
Yeah, that maximum occurs with the x of negative b over 2a. And the y that goes with it is whatever your function rule's name is, right? F or h or whatever, of that value. Cool?